You won't believe what this single dad veteran did when two twin biker prisoners reached out to him with their dying wish, a wish that would change his life, their fate, and the hearts of everyone who heard it. Stay with me till the end, because the twist, the final moment, will absolutely freeze you in your seat. And if this story moves you even a little, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because stories like this deserve to be remembered. It all began with Jake Lawson, a 42-year-old single father, a former Marine who had spent most of his life trying to forget what war had done to him. He lived in a small, quiet town in Wyoming, raising his 10-year-old daughter, Emily, after his wife passed away from cancer. Jake's life revolved around two things: fixing bikes at his small garage and being the best dad he could. The nights were often long and silent, haunted by memories of Afghanistan and the guilt of those he couldn't save. But Emily's laughter, her small hands covered in grease while helping him fix old engines, was his healing point. One cold autumn morning, Jake received a letter. It was from a nearby state prison. Inside was a neatly written note: "Dear Mr. Lawson, you don't know us, but we know of you. We are the Miller twins, Tom and Tony. We rode with the Iron Hawks before everything went wrong. We've got a month left to live. We're dying men, not from bullets, but from what we did and what we didn't do. You served with our dad, Sergeant Paul Miller. He saved your life once in Kandahar. We know you probably don't owe us a thing, but we've got one last wish. Please come see us. We need to tell you something before it's too late." Tom and Tony Miller. Jake froze. He remembered Sergeant Miller, a strong, fearless man who died protecting his squad. Jake owed his life to him. He'd been carrying that debt for 20 years. The thought that Miller's sons were now in prison, dying, felt like a call from fate itself. That night, he looked at Emily sleeping, her tiny hand clutching her teddy bear, and he whispered, "I've got to do this, Em. For him." The next morning, Jake drove to the state penitentiary. The guards led him through heavy metal doors to a small visiting room. There, behind the glass, sat two identical men, bald, tattooed, their eyes hollow but human. They looked up at Jake with a mixture of guilt and disbelief. "You came," one of them said, voice trembling. "Didn't think you would." Jake nodded. "Your father was a good man. He saved me. I owed him this much." The twins exchanged a glance before Tony spoke. "We've done terrible things, Jake. We've hurt people. We've lived angry. But we found out last month, cancer. Both of us. Doctor says we don't have much time. Before we go, we need to make something right." Tom leaned closer, his voice cracking. "Dad used to talk about you. Said if anything ever happened to him, he wanted to make sure you found peace. He said you'd never forgive yourself for the men you lost. He wanted you to know it wasn't your fault." Jake sat still. For years, that guilt had eaten him alive. He'd replayed that explosion 1,000 times, wondering if he could have done more. Hearing that from Miller's sons, it was like a dam breaking inside him. But then Tom added, "That's not our only reason. We've got one last wish." They told him about a little town their father always talked about, Miller Ridge, where he'd dreamed of building a biker home for veterans returning from war. "We can't build it now," Tony said, coughing, "but maybe you can. Call it Miller Haven. A place for lost soldiers, like you, to find their way home." Jake's hands shook. "That's a lot. I'm just one guy." "You're not," Tom said softly. "You've got a reason. You've got a little girl. Build it for her too, so she grows up seeing what good can come from pain." That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He thought of Sergeant Miller, of the twins' broken eyes, of Emily's laughter. And for the first time, he felt purpose again. Now he sold his old pickup, mortgaged his garage, and started with nothing but an empty piece of land and a vision, a place where veterans could rebuild their lives through bikes, brotherhood, and healing. He called it Miller Haven. The first months were brutal, money short, permits delayed, and the weight of single fatherhood pressing down on him. But he kept going. Emily painted old bike parts with bright colors. Volunteers started showing up, other vets who'd heard about his mission. The local news picked up the story. Donations poured in. Then one day, Jake received another letter from the prison chaplain. Tom and Tony Miller passed peacefully last night. Before they went, they made us promise to send you this. Inside was a worn photograph, the twins, smiling next to a rusty motorcycle, and a note: "Thanks for giving our dad's dream a second life." Right on, brother Jake held that photo to his chest and wept. The next day, he organized a ride dozens of veterans, bikers, and families through the mountain roads to the entrance of Miller Haven. The wind roared, the engines thundered, and as they parked, Jake stood by the sign that read Miller Haven, built by brothers, for brothers. He whispered, "You're home, Sergeant." Years later, Miller Haven grew into a refuge for hundreds of veterans. Emily, now a teenager, helped run workshops for children of soldiers. Every year on the anniversary of the twins' passing, Jake led a memorial ride, and every time, the crowd grew larger. In his heart, he knew the real miracle wasn't just the haven, it was the healing. The twins had found redemption through their final wish. Jake had found forgiveness. And Emily had found a legacy worth carrying on. As the sun set behind the mountains, Jake stood beside his daughter, watching a group of veterans laughing, fixing bikes, living again. "Dad," Emily said softly, "do you think they can see us?" Jake smiled. "Yeah, sweetheart. I think they can." If this story touched your heart, take a moment, hit that like button, share it with someone who might need hope today, and don't forget to subscribe. Because sometimes, even in the darkest places, a small act of love can rebuild entire lives, and that's the story of how a single dad veteran fulfilled twin prisoners' last wish and built a home where broken souls could finally find peace.